Hi everyone, I'm Rachel from A Class, and this is a series of 20 lectures on Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet. Now, Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet is one of the most essential plays that you would study as part of your studies in English or literature in school. And it's very essential to understand also the ideas of love, conflict, hatred, and even the ideas of family and society in the play. Now, this course would also help you understand and explore how to structure and develop an essay based on what we have analyzed in an extract. Now, in this course, I've chosen extracts from numerous parts of the play to show you why these are important, and would analyze this by practicing with actual essay questions targeted at maybe IGCSE or even grade 8 and 9 level. So this would really help you to analyze and practice your writing skills at the same time, especially if you're struggling with analysis. I'm not sure how to analyze Shakespeare, or I know what it means, but I can't really structure my points, or I have nothing to write about. If that's you, you're in the right place. All right, so I'll be showing you how to understand the play. I'll be showing you how to analyze that. I'll be showing you how to understand Shakespeare's language, and most importantly, putting all we have known and understood in a full-length essay outline. So obviously, since it's a very short series of courses or lectures, I do not have time to write it out with you, but I'll give you these essay outlines so that you can review them and practice writing them if you want to. So I'm really looking forward to taking this course with you guys, and I hope that you will enjoy yourself and find this course helpful. Thank you very much. Hi everyone, I'm Rachel, and thank you for joining me for Romeo and Juliet. In this course, I'll be teaching you all you need to know about Romeo and Juliet, from a background all the way to characters and an analysis of every individual scene in the story. Now, without further ado, let's get started with the historical context of Romeo and Juliet. Now, all of you might have read Romeo and Juliet and got to know about it as a very tragic love story. Now, that's correct, but today I want to introduce you first to who William Shakespeare was, what he did, and what tragedy is all about. Now, William Shakespeare wrote the play Romeo and Juliet, and he's known as England's most famous playwright. A playwright is someone who writes plays for a living. Now, Shakespeare wrote 3 kinds of plays: histories, comedies, and tragedies. Histories would be known as plays about kings or people in history. Comedies would be plays with happy endings that usually end with people getting married or weddings. Tragedies would have a sad ending, usually resulting in death or something unhappy happening to the protagonist. So Romeo and Juliet would obviously be a tragedy. All right? Now, Shakespeare wrote plays for his acting group, which is a group of actors working to produce his plays for him. And this group was called the King's Men, because the king at that time was a sponsor and supporter of Shakespeare. Now, Shakespeare was writing during the Renaissance period, which was a period between the 14th to 17th centuries, where there was an expansion and flourishing of the arts. Right? We call this a golden age. It was peaceful, the economy was doing really well, and there was no fighting or wars going on. So this allowed art to develop. And Romeo and Juliet was written at the start of Shakespeare's career, one of his very first plays. Now, why are plays important in literature? Now, plays were a very popular and central medium or type of entertainment during the Elizabethan and Jacobean era. Now, when I say Elizabethan era, I mean the time when Queen Elizabeth was on the throne. Jacobean refers to King James. So Shakespeare was writing during a time where Queen Elizabeth first and then King James was on the throne. So this was a time period when Shakespeare was writing, and Romeo and Juliet would be in the first period, Elizabethan. Now, Shakespeare plays were the movies and mass media of London in that time period. So like how we would watch a Hollywood movie today, it was the same for that period. The purpose of entertainment of plays must be understood when we study them. So not only do we need to understand and analyze language and devices, we should also understand the events happening in the play and how they are staged. So for example, in Romeo and Juliet, you see a lot of fighting scenes, or you see a lot of dramatic action going on. You need to be able to analyze in the words you see on the page, how are these things going to be acted on the stage? So that's something I hope I can show you in our course in Romeo and Juliet. All right, staging elements. Now, the history of Romeo and Juliet. Now, Shakespeare was writing for a combined audience. Now, remember we talked about how plays were the movies, right? So you don't really limit movies and plays to only one certain group of people. You would have a combined audience of people from the lower and middle classes, okay? And Romeo and Juliet, like many of his plays, to appeal to these groups, use different language features. So to appeal to the lower class humor, they would use crude jokes in the plays. This would be plays or jokes that are sexual in nature, or jokes that would be lower class to appeal to lower class people's understanding of jokes. But for the middle classes, he would use refined language. So language that's more sophisticated. Okay? And this difference in class and social status is reflected in language. And this is also seen in the characters in Romeo and Juliet. So remember, in Romeo and Juliet, we have two noble families who have servants working for them. And these servants would be the lower class people, right? So one example of a lower class person would be Juliet's nurse. And she speaks in plain language. So this means that she speaks in what we call prose, very simple language that goes on in sentences. Okay, and she makes sexual jokes, like crude jokes over here when she talks to Juliet, right? Now, however, to appeal to the middle class audience, Shakespeare would use refined language and verse, which means rhyme, and a sonnet structure, a poem or a poetic structure, when the richer, more educated characters who are higher in status are speaking. So when characters in the play speak, you are able to tell if this person is higher class or lower class. If that person speaks in rhyme and talks in the poet form, that poem is going to be someone higher in status. All right?